Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my channel. In this video we're going to be reacting to top 10 reasons not to move to the USA. Now I never really considered moving to America. I think the only place I considered moving to is Australia, but I'm far too young and I can't really make decisions like that right now, especially the position I'm in financially and whatever. But before we get into this video, I have to quickly state that 90-something% of you guys, I think it's 96% of you guys who currently watch my content are not subscribed. So if this video did intrigue you or spark your interest and you clicked it, why not stick around? Subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know exactly when I upload, as I will be uploading every single Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 6 PM GMT. I think it's about 4 or 5 in American time, not quite sure. Don't know where in America because I know you guys have 3 time zones. So I don't know what it is. But without further ado, let's actually move on to the reaction. Lego.
Do you live in the US of A?
No.
Well, according to my YouTube analytics, there's a 72.5% chance you'd answer yes. But if your answer's no, and you've ever pondered whether fireworks, hot dogs, and getting a bald eagle tattoo sound like a good time, call me a demolition crew, cause I'm about to break it down for ya. I came in like a wrecking ball. Ouch! Wait, seriously?
Yo, is that Joe Exotic? Is that the Tiger King? The man, the myth, the legend. And then we have the flag. We have stools, which have a very big gap underneath. I know that's an American thing. In England, all our toilets are very like, you know, there's no gap. And if there is, it's minuscule. You might be able to fit your foot under it. Not quite sure you can peek under it. Well, they got that cheese whiz. Original cheese dip. You know what though, Doritos Nachos cheese dip is my favourite and it always sells out. And everyone's like, why'd you buy a cheese dip? Like, what do you mean? Cheesy Doritos in a cheese dip is brilliant. Anyway, enough blabbering on.
That's what we're left with? An American flag, Tiger
He's talking about it anyway, I shouldn't even bothered. Jesus man, do apologise.
King, and are those huge toilet stall gaps?
Yeah,
Remind me why we're like the only country that has those again. Well, it's because we've also got this thing called American innovation. It's no wonder we have by far the best economy in the world and so many incredible...
What do you mean by that?
Things were invented here. The American dream has stood as a beacon of hope for people far and wide, with over 200 different nationalities calling the US home. But while that diversity and innovation, combined with gorgeous landscapes, make the United States a great place to live.
That is the one big thing for me. The reason I would like to visit America for a long period of time, I'd love to drive around America and visit all the states and stuff. But I just don't have the time. Well, forget the time. If I had the time, I'd do it. I don't have the money. I don't have the facilities for that. Plus, I'm not 21, so I can't really rent a car yet in other countries. I could, but I don't think I can. I don't know. I don't know if I have to pay more or if I just can't. But that is one reason I'd love to visit America. The scenery, landscapes, looks astonishing. Looks amazing.
That doesn't mean it's perfect. Find out why in my top 10 reasons not to move to the USA.
Nice.
And let's hit 5,000 likes if you want to see a video on the 10 best countries for 2022.
Sorry, the 10 best countries for 2022. What does that mean? What do you mean by that? How could a country...
Number 10. The car-dependent culture. Unless you live in New York, San Francisco, or the handful of other walkable cities with good public transit, you're gonna...
Public transit? Do you mean public transport? Like, buses, trains, taxis. Mate, if you want to travel anywhere in England, train is a good alternative. Though sometimes plane is cheaper, depending on how far, you know.
Need a car to live in the USA, especially the further west you go, as most of the country lacks any real urban planning and cities and towns are much more spread out. Now, if you've lived your entire life in the US, you might think this is normal, and it could even be a huge pro for you if you're someone who loves long drives on the open road. But it'll be a big culture shock if you're coming from a place in Europe or Asia where cities are very walkable and public transportation is phenomenal. And it is creating a problem here, considering the average American only takes around 5,000 steps a day, which is just half.
Mate, that's... What? I say that right now, I don't really walk much because of COVID, but still. That's What? What do you mean?
What's recommended for a healthy lifestyle. In fact, many people in sprawling cities like LA, Phoenix, or Houston, as well as most rural parts of the country, don't even walk at all. And it's not like they really need to, with drive-thrus for everything from food to banks to pharmacies.
How do they get to their car then? If they don't even walk at all. You saying they hover to the bed? No, that's magic.
Number 9. If you value your health.
Yo, is that a pint of lager or a beer or
Considering
something?
that many Americans don't even walk, much less actively exercise, it should come as no surprise that 42.4% of US adults are obese, making it the 11th most obese nation in the world. And the severe lack of healthy food options in most parts of the country certainly doesn't help.
I say that about anywhere though. Fast food is so easily accessible nowadays. I could open my phone right now and have like 15, 20 different fast foods open. And it's 1:30 in the morning right now, and I bet you there's more than 5 places open.
In fact, there's tons of foods Americans eat regularly that are actually illegal in many other countries due to all the chemical additives.
Jeez.
But that's not all. Even if you're not stuck living in a food desert where all you have to eat is corn puffs and Cousin Willie's buttery explosion popcorn, you still aren't out of the proverbial woods, because mental health is also a huge issue here. 18.
That forest looked sick. And that's sick in a good sense. Alright, if you're an American watching this, I don't know if you know that. But hey.
1% of US adults suffer from severe anxiety, and 6.7% suffer from severe depression in a given year, making our depression rate the 2nd highest of any country.
Really? That's bad.
Talk, Superfast Fibre and Netflix.
I say that mental health has been a massive
package.
thing
It just
recently,
makes
especially with especially with COVID going on. Everyone's health has deteriorated quite quickly. Unless you're good at just dealing with that. But
poor health might be rampant in the US.
Oh yeah, that is number 1 for me why I wouldn't move to America. Healthcare, you have to pay for it. Sorry, I'm a clumsy guy. I've never broke a bone or anything, but like, I stub my toe a lot. I stub my toe way too many times than I actually should. And if I accidentally break my toe while stubbing it, because it is possible, it's very possible, I ain't paying for that. What do you mean? What happens if I fracture my toe? That's nothing serious there, to be honest. You can kind of fix that yourself. But it hurts so much. If I like react quickly and ring up an ambulance, or we've got here 111, which is like a non-emergency line, and they're like, yeah, you should probably call an ambulance just to get it checked. They'd do that in America. I bet they would do that in America, but then you got to pay for it. Hell no.
But hey, at least there's quality healthcare.
Oh, I like that. But hey, and then showed some hay.
Treat all the problems. Well, if you can afford it, because the US is the only industrialized nation to not offer universal healthcare for all of its residents. So every year, 20 to 45,000 people actually die just because they don't have health insurance.
That's mental.
Not to mention how many Americans go broke from an unforeseen illness or injury. And you can't blame them. The average annual health insurance cost is nearly $7,500 for an individual and over $21,000 for a family. And even then, you still might have to pay out of pocket if the doctor or hospital that you go to is considered out of network. Pharmaceutical drugs and medicines also cost way more here than in other countries. So
actually, oh god, sorry. I had an ear infection a couple of months ago. I had to pay £9.50 for ear things. £9.50 for like a 3-day treatment. I know that's not a lot compared to Americans, but mate, I'm not made of money. Mate, that £9.50 could be well spent on something else, but not that.
It's no wonder most Americans don't see a doctor until they absolutely have to, which often results in...
Yeah, but people do that here as well. Actually, no, I don't. I do that. Bad thing. A lot of people do that. But there's also a lot of people that go in if they've cut their finger. Because it's free, they're like, check it, I might be infected. No, you're not infected, mate. Did you like put TCP on it or alcohol or a wipe? Anything. Mate, under the tap, I'm pretty sure you're fine.
Many minor issues that could have easily been prevented, turning into major issues that need extensive care. Number 7. It's expensive. Healthcare costs are just one of the many things that make the US the 11th most expensive country in the world. Although, to be fair, at least it also does have the third highest purchasing power index, since wages are pretty high too. And they better be, because median rent costs in the US are the 7th most expensive globally, with the median renter spending 31.1% of their income on rent. And poor rent...
I know I'm pausing way too much, but I would love to you move to America just for the houses. You get, the houses are so much bigger. Mate, over here, you're talking 200 grand for like 2-3 bed terraced house. Between, it's all connected. You got neighbours either side of your walls. It's ridiculous. With a tiny garden. Mate, I'm a guy who needs a big garden because I do other sports like archery and all stuff like that. I like a garden that's detached, so I'm not going to bother anyone. And I want a garage. What's that? I don't even know if I'm going to earn enough money in my lifetime to be able to afford a house like that. But you can always hope, right?
Renters, or those in the bottom 20% of incomes, spend nearly 75% of their income on rent. Now, if you're coming from
75.
Europe or Canada, you might find the cost of living as a whole to be about on par or even slightly lower. But compared to most of the world, the US's cost of living is through the roof. Especially when you realize sales taxes aren't included on the price tag of products, and you have to tip an extra 15 to 25% at restaurants. Number 6, low wages and high poverty. What do you mean low wages? You just said America has high wages and a great economy. And yeah, it does, with the 9th highest nominal GDP per capita at $68,300. But that doesn't mean many people aren't struggling, as there's also a huge division of wealth. If you can't manage to snag an actual good-paying job, you're unlikely to make ends meet. Because with a federal minimum wage of just $7.25 an hour, or around $15,000 a year, the US only has the 17th highest minimum income among industrialized nations, despite having by far the best economy in the world. And sure, most workers here do make more than minimum wage, but 48 million of them still make less than $15 an hour, which in a lot of states still isn't enough to get by. Not to mention, many Americans are also intentionally underemployed, so employers don't have to pay them benefits. I mean, the US being the only country other than Papua New Guinea and 5 small Pacific Island nations to not require paid family leave should show you how little this country cares about its workers. As a result, our international poverty rate is 17.8%, with an even higher rate of childhood poverty at 20.9%. Number 5. It's dangerous. Do you know what high poverty usually leads to? Crime. So it shouldn't be a surprise that the US is more dangerous than any other industrialized nation and the 36th most dangerous country overall. The crime rate is nearly triple that of most of Europe, and the homicide rate is over 10 times that of Europe. Now sure, it's not like you need to worry about being shot in broad daylight in most parts of the country, as the US isn't nearly as dangerous as a place like El Salvador, but there are many US cities that are among the most dangerous in the world. Such as St. Louis, whose murder rate of 88 people per 100,000 is nearly double El Salvador's rate, and El Salvador is by far the most dangerous country. Number 4. Education. Education in the US isn't like in most European countries where the quality of schooling is great regardless of where you live. It's a lot more like your 3 times divorced, pansexual, non-monogamous Aunt Tilda's relationship. Complicated. Many Americans actually choose where they're gonna live based solely on school districts.
Really?
One town might have amazing schools, while the next city over has terrible funding and a student-to-teacher ratio of 40-1. Heck, there have even been cases of students graduating high school without knowing how to read. Needless to say, the American education system is a dilemma.
Mate, you learn how to read in primary. I don't know what that is in America. Primary is like from the ages of, 5, because that's reception. When you're 5 years old, it's reception. Then it's 6. No, year 1, 2. So you got isn't year 1 and 2 reception, or is it just reception then year 1, 2, 3, 4? Mate, I don't even know the English education system. I'm in uni. I'm at the end. Well, you could go a lot further. Right? I'm not going further than I have to, but you know.
But at least there are other options, such as homeschool, charter school, private school, Montessori school, or old school.
We've got public school, which everyone goes public school. Literally everyone goes public school. And then you've got private school, which is like the very posh people. Even though if you ask them if they're posh, they'll say they're not posh. But they're posh.
But no matter what school you choose, your kids will likely feel like they have to go to college, even if the job they want doesn't require it. Higher education is heavily ingrained in the American culture, with many parents thinking their children will end up failures if they don't go to university. So
Really?
unlike many other countries
bad.
that put just as much of an emphasis on trade school apprenticeships or working, a college degree seems to be the only thing that matters to many Americans. And no, it's not free, and no, it does not guarantee you'll get a good job. All it does guarantee is that you'll probably be in debt until you're at least 50, because the total US student loan debt of $1.75 trillion is growing 6 times faster than the nation's economy, with no signs of slowing down.
What? What? That's ridiculous. I don't even know how much debt I'll be in when I finish uni. I get what? It's £9,250 per year for tuition.
Graphic and ID.
And then plus my maintenance loan, which is enough. I don't know how much of a debt I'll be in.
National isolation. Many Americans think the US is the best country, while objectively, it just isn't. And many of those same people have never visited another country before. Heck, even when Americans do travel, many don't care to learn about new cultures or broaden their horizons, and instead opt to stay in resorts or English-speaking areas where the culture is similar to what they're familiar with. In a sense, Americans are some of the most closed-minded people, and they don't even know it. And if you're an American watching this and want to rage at that comment, you're kind of proving my point. Maybe it's because of its geographic isolation and how difficult and expensive it is to travel to countries other than Canada or Mexico, or perhaps the superiority complex that the US presents to the rest of the world. But nearly 30% of Americans have never left the country, and even more tend to have a very individualistic and closed mindset. As a result, many US residents
To be fair, America is massive. You could probably live your life there and then not explore all of it, you know?
feel alone and don't have a sense of community, which is another reason for our high depression rates and can be a huge culture shock if you're coming from a country where an emphasis is put on family and caring about the collective. Number 2, the country is very divided. Speaking of closed-minded,
Well, you know what they say, divide and conquer. To conquer, there must be a division.
the two
Because the higher power of the country controls both sides. It's not a conspiracy theory. Or it could be.
party political system has really done us dirty. I mean, there's a reason few industrialized nations have it, because you can hardly get anything done. And our politicians and the reactionary media just seem to want to distract and divide us, separating the public into either Team Red or Team Blue. When in actuality, there's nuance to everything, and most Americans would probably agree on many of the same goals if labels weren't attached, and people could just have open and honest conversations without attacking each other. But that probably isn't going to be happening anytime soon, as more and more people just stay in their echo chambers and refuse to even listen to what someone with a different viewpoint has to say. Between the ever-increasing classism and continuously polarizing government agendas, the divisiveness of the social and political atmosphere in our nation is the worst it's been since the Civil War. When states were so divided, they literally left the country. Speaking of which, Canada is actually preparing for us to have another civil war. Now, before we get to number 1, make sure you leave a like and subscribe and comment which country you want me to cover next. Also, check out my videos on the 10
like,
reasons
subscribe
why
to me
you
too,
should move
guys.
to Canada or Australia.
And leave a comment on what
But
video you
without
want me to react to
further
next.
ado, number 1. It's very difficult to immigrate here. If everything on this list so far doesn't in the slightest way concern you, and you're like, sign me up, yeah, the US still sounds awesome! Well, I hate to break it to you, but you probably won't be able to move here. Because while the US does have the most foreign-born residents by far, accounting for nearly 20% of all immigrants in the world, they're also just a select few of the hundreds of millions of applicants. To even have a shot at meeting the immigration requirements, requirements, you'll need to either marry an American citizen, be an award-winning writer, scientist, or tech mogul, be a skilled worker not born in India or China, and if you are born in India, China, the Philippines, or Mexico, be prepared to wait in line for at least a few decades. Or you could be a refugee, although 75% of asylum seekers are still denied. This is honestly the biggest reason.
Wow. Well, on that note, gonna have to leave you here, guys. But anyway, guys, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and a comment down below. Especially you should man, I start more as the days go on. Subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know exactly when I upload next, especially that I upload every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And 98 or 96, whatever percent of you guys who watch my content are not subscribed, and why not? Why not? If you click this video, something must have looked interesting. It could have been me, it could have been the video, but you're here for a reason, so I think you should stick around for just a little bit longer, you know, see what you think of it, see what you like, and yeah, do all the things that I just listed, and see you guys in the next video. Bye.